Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you for joining us on this very hectic day. We are well aware that everyone is extremely busy as the first week of the academic calendar just started. Thus, thank you for joining us. I am Syarifah Syakila and I will be moderating the session today. For your information, this is actually a joint event between Akademi Pengajian Bahasa and Institut Kepimpinan dan Pembangunan ILD of UiTM Kedah. You can join us on other ILD platforms as well, such as YouTube Live and also Facebook Live. Other than that, the attendance link for today will only be shared at the end of the session. And if you do have any questions, ideas, suggestions, you may write it down in the chat box. Without wasting any more time, I would like to introduce our speaker today, Puan Asni Syahriza, or better known as Nini. We call her Nini. A little bit about her. Asni started teaching since 2011 at UiTM Jengka Pahang, and then after that she went to College University Islam Perlis, then finally to UiTM Kedah. She enjoys reading, creative writing, and her research interests are in English pronunciation and communication. She also advocates English pronunciation in teaching and also learning. With the title Speak English, the Malaysian Way, let's give a warm welcome to our speaker, Madam Asni. Okay, Asni.
All right, thank you very much, my fellow colleague, Kila from APB Kedah. And thank you very much, everyone, also for being with us here today. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. I am Asni Syahriza binti Abu Hassan, a lecturer at APB Kedah. Okay, so today I will be sharing the little knowledge that I have on this webinar session, Speak English the Malaysian Way. Why? Salah ke? Kami daripada Kedah kan, so dia jadi salah ke lah kan. Kalau kat Shah Alam mungkin salah ke macam tu. Okay, so that in the title of our webinar session today itself, we have one example of how English is widely spoken in Malaysia. But before I continue, I would like to say or even emphasize that I am merely sharing what I know with the limited knowledge, the limited experience that I have. I believe there are more people who are more expert in this area than I am. And I do apologize if in any parts of this webinar, we're not on the same boat, because just like global warming, Malaysian English is a topic that is in constant and endless debate among academicians particularly. So, next slide. In this webinar session, I'll be talking about Malaysian English in general and also Malaysian pronunciation. So the objectives, the first one is to encourage correct use of English among Malaysians, in particular Malaysian students and educators, especially educators, because I believe what we say and how we say it has major impacts on the lives and the futures of the students. So when they listen to us in class, they would very much likely follow how we say it. So yes, to encourage correct use of English among us. And the second objective is to point out some of the common pronunciation errors that I know, because I think we have to orang kata biasakan yang betul, betulkan yang biasa, because there are many errors that have become too common among Malaysians nowadays. But don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that we need to sound like Hermione Granger, and because I don't sound British myself. Like I said, I just want to share some of the the correct pronunciation of English words, so that when we say the English words, it doesn't cause communication breakdown because the other speaker cannot understand us. Okay, so these are the objectives of our session today. Moving on. Okay, so let's start with English in general. Okay, it has been the lingua franca, or the language of the world, and I believe it will continue to be true for many more years to come, even though many are saying the Chinese and the Arabic languages are competing for the throne. But until that happens, English remains the globally dominant language. So whether you like it or not, that's it. Whether you want to argue with the fact, that's it. Okay, English remains the globally dominant language. And I think it's known, English was brought to us during the colonization days. And since then, it has been used as the second language in Malaysia. So when the language is transferred, we have Malaysian English. And Malaysian English has been accepted as a legitimate variety of English, just like Singaporean English, just like Chinese English, Indian English, and so on and so forth. So one criteria that all varieties must have is that they reflect the cultural realities of the speakers. Okay, our culture lah, Malaysian cultures. For example, the use of lah. Okay, but it must be adaptable enough to allow international communication. So that is one part ataupun one point that we need to remember when whenever we want to talk about Malaysian English, whenever we want to have a discussion about the use of Malaysian English, it must allow international communication. Okay. So in relation to that, okay, I would like to share with you the 3 levels of Malaysian English. So we have the acrolac, mesolac, and the basilac. Okay, so let's look at it one by one. What is acrolac English? Okay, it's the standard formal and written native speaker variety of English. That is the British English. So acrolac level of English is very close to British English, and it is ought to be taught and learned in Malaysian institutions. But a question to you all, okay, is it the kind of English that is taught and learned in Malaysian institutions? Okay, you give the question, the answer to yourself. Maybe later you can share it. Okay, and then the second level is mesolac. It is used for intranational communication between Malaysians of varying ethnicity as a medium of local communication. So this is when we go to mama and say, Ane, kopi ais satu, something like that. Or I would like to order kopi ais, something like that, okay? And basilac English is the kind of English for low proficiency learners, characterized by limited vocabulary and efficiency as means of communication. So this is where many of our students are at. This is the level of our students nowadays. Okay, so that's about the 3 levels of lactal continuum. Okay, so to answer the question, salah ke? Is it wrong for us to speak ataupun to use Malaysian English? So based on Bhaskaran's levels of lactal continuum and how Malaysian English has become a variety of English, like Singaporean English, I would say it's not wrong. Okay, because Malaysian English is our identity and we should be proud of it. Okay, and that's why we say roti canai instead of flattened bread. That's not us. Flattened bread is not us. Roti canai is us. Nasi lemak is us. And as you can see in the slide, there's a picture of teh ice. I do not want to translate this to iced tea. Okay, kita translate iced tea and it's teh ice. But then their version of iced tea is very much different from our teh ice. So that's why I do not want to translate this to iced tea. It's teh ice because it's ours, it's our identity. And another example is the word merdeka. Okay, we would translate it to Independence Day. Okay, but that's not us. Merdeka is ours. So something like that. We have language identity. However, with that being said, you have to consider your setting. Okay, Malaysian English is not wrong. The use of Malaysian English is not wrong. But you have to consider your setting. Okay, in a classroom, an educator should, try to use a correct level of English. Okay, it's different from when you are at a market or at a mama restaurant. Okay, if you order, excuse me waiter, I would like to order fried mee with prawns, and for a drink I would like an orange juice. Then people will look at you with eyebrows raised. Apa pelik sangat dia ni kan? Okay, koya sangat dia ni kan? So you have to consider your setting. Okay, so as an educator, we have a responsibility to use good English because some learners, they are auditory learners. They listen and they remember. Okay, so when they go for interview, for example, they would say it how you said it. Okay, so that's why I said we have to be responsible in the kind of English that we use, because your UiTM is one institution that uses English as a medium of teaching and learning. Okay, so moving on. Okay, now let's talk about Bahasa Rojak. Okay, I think we all know what Rojak is. So the definition of Bahasa Rojak is derived from the nature of Rojak itself. Okay, so therefore Bahasa Rojak is simply defined ataupun is simply explained as a combination of different languages used in the process of communication. But in language learning, we do have terms for Bahasa Rojak. So the first one is code mixing. Code mixing is a mixture of the grammar of one language and another language without altering the grammar of the languages used. So for example, semalam I already told you the due date is hari ini. So as you can see there, it's a combination of Bahasa Melayu dan Bahasa Inggeris. But the grammar is still correct. Semalam is past tense, so past tense is used. The word told is past tense instead of tell. So it's not altering the grammar of any languages. The second example, ini antara drama-drama yang kita akan jumpa lah. Every semester akan ada drama ni. Assalamualaikum madam, Assalamualaikum sir. Esok saya akan submit assignment. I'm sorry madam, I'm sorry sir. So in the sentence, esok saya akan submit assignment. The grammar is correct. Okay, I will submit this assignment tomorrow. Okay, so that's code mixing, a mixture of different languages without altering the grammar of the languages used. Okay, another term is code switching. Okay, and under code switching, we have extra-sentential, we have inter-sentential, and one more is intra-sentential. Okay, so extra-sentential is boleh, betul, boleh. Okay, but code mixing, you have to pay attention to the grammar. Okay, students nowadays, they are exposed to songs. Bukan students nowadays lah. Since my time, our time, I learned English by listening to songs. But then, when they listen to songs, many songs nowadays, they disregard the rules of grammar for rhyme. Yang penting bagi mereka adalah rhyme. So they don't really pay attention to grammar. So that's the problem. Okay, one good song where you can learn grammar is ZRV, if I'm not mistaken. Semalam I called you, you tak angkat. So that's one example of, if you want to encourage your students to learn English from songs. Okay? Okay, going back to code switching. The first one is extra-sentential. Okay, a combination of, it still adheres to the definition of Bahasa Rojak, a combination of different languages, but extra-sentential code switching is, it comes with a tag. In the example, this one I googled. So I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So we have a tag element, right? So it's a combination of Mandarin and BM, right? Sorry, BI, okay, Bahasa Inggris, right? Second one, intersentential, code switching happens at sentence boundary, meaning in different sentences. This one I know. 我想去图书馆. Do you want to come with me? So the first sentence is in Mandarin, which means I want to go to the library. I googled it. I cannot speak Mandarin. 我想去图书馆. Do you want to come with me? Okay, that's intersentential. And sorry, one last one is intrasentential code switching. It's a switch from one language to another in a single sentence. So for example, I will bring the laptop, you bawa buku sahaja. Okay, so it must be in one sentence. Okay. Just now I said it's not wrong to use Malaysian English, okay, as long as you adhere to the grammar rules, you speak it appropriately according to the settings. Okay, but then there are issues that I want you to think about when you want to use Malaysian English. Okay, Mr. Zainer, is there anything that you would like to say or ask? I see that you have raised your hand. Mr. Zainer?
Maybe it was an accident.
Okay, all right. So I'll just continue.
Yes.
Okay, so there are issues that I want you to think about. Code switching, okay, often resemble borrowings being fitted into the syntax of another language, which means it's often direct translated. So if you as you can see in the pictures, that's why we have please paying attention to me. How much time I must tell you all. Don't play in my class. If you don't want to study, go outside and eat win. Okay, that's the first picture. The second picture, first disturb the water. Second, throw the water little into the balang. Okay, so that's the problem. We are not really using the correct Malaysian English that we are supposed to use. So is Manglish truly Malaysian English? So I think you know Manglish is the abbreviation for Malaysian English, but then is it Malaysian English, Manglish, or mangled English? I was asked this question when I was a student, and we know the definition of mangled is completely broken. So that's the first issue that I want you to think about. Okay, is it really Malaysian English or mangled English? Okay. The second issue, the process of communication. There are elements in the process of communication. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, there are 7 elements. Okay, we have first sender, we have receiver, the speaker and the listener, and then we have message or the information, or what is being talked about, the topic basically. We have also feedback. We have channel. Channel is the medium, how the message is transferred. It can be verbally transferred, it can be via email, it can be via WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. How many already? Sender, receiver, message, channel, feedback, noise. So probably there are 6 elements, okay? And noise. So for communication to be called a successful communication, the message has to be understood by the receiver, okay? But there could be one barrier, okay? Noise, that is noise. Noise is barrier to communication. There could be a barrier that is language. Okay, so when you speak the kind of language that is incomprehensible to the speaker, then you cannot call it a communication. Okay? It's not really communication when the message is not understood. Okay, so that's the second issue. That's why some people would argue, never mind lah, the kind of English I use as long as the receiver understand, ataupun as long as they understand. But do they? Okay, so that's the second issue. The third issue, okay, I think the most important issue that you have to think about, you have to have, you have to be concerned about, okay, fossilization. So when I say fossilization, many would imagine dinosaur fossils. Okay, betul lah tu. But then in language learning, fossilization refers to the process in which the use of incorrect language becomes a habit and cannot be easily corrected. Okay, Arnida, I'll get back to the question later, yeah? I'll finish this one first. Okay, so fossilization, okay, I would like to repeat the definition. Fossilization refers to the process in which the use of incorrect language becomes a habit and cannot be easily corrected. If you are an educator, if you are a lecturer, this is what you have to think about, okay? When it becomes a habit, it cannot be easily corrected. Okay, kita tak payah cakap pasal language lah. Okay, another example, a simpler example would be smoking habit. Okay, you can go and ask the smokers, is it easy to quit the habit? They would say it's very difficult. You can, but it's not easy. Okay, and there are cases where it's not possible anymore to correct it. Okay, because it has become a habit. Okay, so for example, the use of lah. This one is very famous. Okay, the foreigners are often they are fascinated by the use of lah. Okay, because I watched a video once, Canadian English, lah is similar to their expression. If I'm not mistaken, it's a. Okay, it's okay to have lah, but then you have to be careful. When you use it too much, it has become a habit. It's difficult to change. So for example, when you are at a conference, okay, this is from my experience, it really frustrates me when I use lah during a formal presentation like that. But then it comes out naturally, okay? So one example is lah. And we also have where God. It's a direct translation of mana ada. I saw you with an example, yeah. I saw you yesterday with a friend of mine, Siti. Do you know Siti? So the response, the feedback would be, where God? Mana ada? I wasn't with Siti. I was at the office, something like that lah, kan? Okay, where God? Okay, and another one is I noticed this among Chinese speakers. My friends, they say my one. Okay, whose phone is this? My one. Okay, it's actually mine, but then they say my one. Okay, they know it's wrong, but it comes out naturally. It's a habit. It's difficult to change already. Okay, so fossilization is a serious issue that you need to think about. If you want to say it's okay to use inappropriate Malaysian English, something like that. Okay? All right, so I think I'm done with Malaysian English. Yes, okay. But before I continue, this code switching refers to bahasa rojak that is always being criticized by pejuang bahasa. Yes, it does. Okay, code switching is a combination of languages, but unlike code mixing, it doesn't pay attention to grammar. Okay? Okay, so I think now we can continue with the next topic or subtopic, that is Malaysian pronunciation. So in terms of pronunciation, Malaysians, we refer to received pronunciation or RP, which is regarded as the standard of British English. So when I had this course before, some of the participants, they would ask, why do we have to use British English? Because there are different parts of the country, they have their own accent. Yes, it's true, but then we are referring to received pronunciation. I think this is also called the Queen's English. Okay, so do not mind the other parts of UK. We follow the Queen's English or the RP. Okay, so in Malaysia, English pronunciation too has been navatized, which means it has become our own, and at some point, the wrong pronunciation is deemed correct. I have many experiences with pronunciation. When I go out, for example, I want to buy eyebrow definer. I would say eyebrow definer kat mana kat bahagian mana Then orang kerja kat situ dia akan cakap, oh eyebrow macam tu. So it has become, the wrong pronunciation has become the correct one. Okay, so all right. Like I said, I'm not going to make you sound like Hermione Granger. Okay, English dia memang sangat sedap. Memang saya pun suka dia punya English. But I myself do not sound very British, so you cannot expect that from me. Okay, I will answer the question whether or not you can sound British at the end of the session. Okay, so let's have one of maybe the participants to count from 1 to 10. Can I have someone? Boleh tak? Anyone? Ada tak?
Nak cuba?
Boleh. Thank you very much.
Kira nombor 1 sampai 10.
Betul.
Bahasa Inggeris.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very good. However, you have one problem with number 3. Okay, and it's not just one person's problem. Okay, as you can see, the word one is spelled as O-N-E. So meaning normally people can get that correct. So as number 2. Okay, 1, 2. However, the problem is with number 3. Okay, ramai akan cakap pokok. 1, 2 pokok. Macam tu. Okay. So the point of me doing this is to show you, even in something simple, counting from 1 to 10, we can see pronunciation errors already. Okay, so it's actually 3. Okay, so sekejap lagi kita akan tengok how to pronounce 3 correctly. Okay, 4, no problem. 5, no problem. 6. Okay, tapi student akan banyak jadi sick. Suka sangat berlakon sakit kan? Tak mau kelas, berlakon sakit jadi sick. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sick. Instead of 6. Okay, so the correct pronunciation is 6. 7, no problem. 8, egg, kan? Instead of 8. Okay, so it should end with a th sound, 8, instead of egg. But then many people would pronounce it as egg. Okay, and then 9 and 10. Okay, all right. Okay, I actually have a video here. Okay. And we tested this yesterday and it's not very clear. Okay, I would want you to pay attention to Orlando Bloom ataupun Legolas lah dalam cerita ni kan. Lord of the Ring. Okay, bukan sebab dia handsome, memang dia handsome pun. Tapi I want you to pay attention to how he uttered this forest is old, very old. Okay, look at the shape of his mouth when he uttered the word old. Okay, hopefully you can hear lah.
are so close in here. This forest is old. Very old.
Okay, boleh dengar tak? Dengar tak dia cakap this forest is old, very old.
Boleh dengar.
Boleh. Okay. When I was a student, I had to take, courses on pronunciation, but it wasn't until this video that, really encouraged me to study more on pronunciation. Because with how the word is spelled, O-L-D, kan, O, kan, nampak tak mulut saya? So mungkin akan muncung lah sikit mulut kan, old, macam tu. And old, but then the correct pronunciation is the our mouth should be really flat, macam tu saja, old. Sebab dia adalah EU. The correct pronunciation is like old, something like that. Tapi tak ada lah EU macam tu kan, just old. Okay, so just to share with you how I got interested with pronunciation. Okay, next. How do I do this? Okay, so now I would like to share some of the common pronunciation errors among Malaysians. So if you know some other, errors you have experienced, so you can share it with us. Okay, these are the errors that I know lah. Similar. Okay, first, the most popular, okay, TH sound. Okay, for example, in as simple as saying thank you, dia akan jadi thanky. Instead of THANK, dia akan jadi TANK. Thank you, macam cakap, awak thanky. Macam tu kan. Tapi thank you. And some other words, think, I thought, and the earth. Okay, I have a friend, dia tak boleh cakap TH sound, dia akan jadi the earth, something like that. Okay, I tried helping lah. Okay, so how do we pronounce it actually? Okay, to make this sound, the tip of the tongue, okay, the tip of the tongue comes through the teeth. Okay, something like this. Okay, the upper part of our tongue should be touching the upper part of our teeth. Okay, yes. As for Muslim, okay, dia sama macam kita cakap tha. Okay, so thank you, I think, I thought, the earth, something like that. So ada tak anyone would like to repeat these words again with the correct pronunciation? Boleh?
Nak cuba lagi?
Boleh? Thank you very much.
Thank you, I think, I thought, the earth.
Okay, alright, that's a good try. Thank you very much.
Tapi sembuh Ailio semua.
Betul. Masa saya student dulu memang bersembuk-sembuk Ailio nak belajar pronunciation kan. Okay, so hopefully, with what I've shared, lepas ni you can say thank you correctly kan. Okay, alright. We use thank you a lot in our life, so use it correctly. Next is the R sound ataupun R sound. Students assume if they overdo, words with R, they overdo the R sound, it signifies fluent and professional English. Okay, it doesn't really, signify fluent English. Okay, for example, girlfriend, group member, university, better. Okay, some students would pronounce it as girlfriend, okay, group member, university, better. Okay, overdo the R sound. Okay, so British English, how do we pronounce it? It's a minimal sound. Okay, as compared to American English, dia lebih sharp lah. Okay, but as for British English, it's just a minimal sound. Girlfriend, group member, university, better. It's there, dia tak silent. It's there but minimal. Okay? Alright. University, better, something like that. Okay, next sound. Sebenarnya saya dah nak habis dah, so we can finish in 1 hour. So I hope it's okay with everyone. Okay. The, and sounds. Okay. Before I explain, can I have, someone among the participants to help read this? Tak payah laju-laju. This is a tongue twister, but tak payah laju-laju. You can just, read it correctly instead of quickly. Ada tak?
Saya cuba.
Boleh, terima kasih. Kak Cam.
Nak tergelak dulu baru nak cuba. Okay. Okay, I try ya. Okay, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. A pack of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, where's the pack of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. Okay.
Thank you very much, Kak Cam. Okay, the and sounds. That means the sound that is the sounds that are found at the end of the word, the last syllable. Okay. Contoh, Peter Piper. Suku kata terakhir. Suku kata akhir. Something like that. Okay. Picked. You see, picked. The sound. Many would not have the sound. Okay, mereka akan baca pick saja, pick. Peter Piper pick a pack of pickled peppers. Kalau pula, tak adalah bunyi peppers tu, dia akan bunyi pepper saja. Okay, students really have this problem. Okay, so maybe you can mention to the students, you have to pronounce the d and the s sounds. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Okay, semua bunyi ada. Okay. And some other examples. Next. It's more, mostly people akan cakap next, N-E-X, next. Kan? Next. Panggil orang yang seterusnya kan. But then the correct pronunciation, next. Next. Okay? Adapt. Tapi selalu kita habis dekat huruf P je. Adapt. Okay? Walked. Kena bagi bunyi deh tu. Kalau tidak, dia sama dengan walk sajalah. Dia tak ada beza dengan present tense. Walked, pulled. Yang ni best. Okay, yang ni best. Sama juga saya belajar. I learn how to pronounce this word dengan Lord of the Ring juga. Tapi the second word lah. Okay, agak-agak macam mana nak pronounce C-R-I-S-P-S? Ada tak? Anyone? Yang ni best. Sangat suka. Ada tak? Boleh tak someone try? Kak Cam lah lagi Kak Cam.
Tak hati. Crisp. What? Crisp.
Okay.
And grasp.
Dia senang saja. Kita just buat huruf tu. Se. Crisps. Macam tu saja. So kalau se kita bunyi se, kalau pe kita tutup mulut. P, se kita bunyi lagi sekali se. Crisps. Itu saja. The second word ataupun the last word, grasps. Sama aja. Saya sangat suka sebab it's difficult because huruf dia adalah huruf consonant semua. S-P-S kan. Tapi kita sebut sahaja. Crisps. Saya buat slow motion lah tapi tak ada lah kita cakap macam tu kan. Crisps. Kita tutup mulut, kita sambung bunyi S. Sama juga. Okay. So next. Okay. The th sound in British and American English. This one is not really an error. I just would like to share with you the difference between how the th sound is pronounced in British and American English. British would be the normal T lah. Toilet, better, butter, British. Okay. However, American would not say better. They would say better. Macam Kak Cam tadi, Peter instead of Peter. Okay. And then water. It's similar to the D sound. Okay, but British, they say the normal T, better, water. And also, American English, they have something like kitten, patent, something like that. I'm not really an expert, but something like that. They don't really say the T sound, kitten, patent, something like that. And silent T, winner, instead of winter. Okay. So which one to use? Malaysians use British English, but then not just students, we are all more exposed to American English, American songs, American movies. So be consistent. That's my suggestion. You just have to be consistent in the kind of English you use. Even though let's go for English. Let's go for British English. British English ni sedap lah. You should listen to Hermione Granger. Sedap English dia. Okay. Next. Oh, okay. Silent letters. Okay, silent letters. That is, it's difficult for us to know how to pronounce the words with silent letters unless we come across it. Okay, mungkin pertama kali kita jumpa, kita akan cakap salmon dulu. Kan? The word salmon, ikan salmon tu kan? The first time we see the word, we come across the word, we may pronounce it as salmon because we don't know. But eventually, we all should learn that the correct pronunciation is silent L. Okay, salmon. Okay, so it's difficult to tell. Tak ada formula. Macam mana nak pronounce? Macam mana kita nak tahu kan? Huruf mana yang silent, kan? Tak ada formula. Okay. If we have heard the word before, probably pronounced by British speakers, then that would be an advantage for us lah. But we have to come across the words first, then only we'll know how to pronounce it. Okay. So these are some examples. Silent B. It's bombing. Silent B kan? Bombing instead of bombing. Okay, climbing. Ini not just students, adult learners pun akan buat kesalahan, this kind of mistakes sebab they would just pronounce as how the words are spelled. Okay, that's the thing about English. It's not bahasa Melayu. Bahasa Melayu is syllabic language. Syllabic language ni macam mana dia eja, macam itulah dia sebut. D-A-D-A, P-A-T, pat, dapat. Macam tu kan. M-E, meja, meja, syllabic language. But English is not like that. Okay, tapi kita tengok, oh ada B, climbing lah. But then it's climbing. Okay, that. Jadi kita tak payah tutup mulut lah sebab B, kita tutup mulut kan. B kan. Tak payah tutup lah. Tak payah that. Tak payah macam tu. Kita buka je that. Habis lah. Okay. And plumber and subtle. Okay. And then we also have silent T. Yang ni sedih sangat. Budak semester 1, semester 2 masih lagi duk listening test. Madam, bila listening test kami? Listening kan? It's listen. Person, hustle. Wrestling kan? Orang lelaki suka lah tengok kot wrestling. So it's not wrestle. It's macam nak wrestler ke? Macam nak wrestle. Okay, wrestling. Okay, and then we also have silent H. Sama juga, it's quite sad to have students in semester 1, semester 2 and even semester 3 to pronounce honest, power. Okay, it's honest, hour, scheme of work, school and archive. Okay. Of course, there are many words. You can Google it yourself. Banyak sangat. I think another person from another lecturer from APB can just focus on silent letters sebab memang banyak sangat perkataan dia. Okay. Silent W, answer, sort. Sort ni saya pernah dengar dekat TV. Nickelodeon kot, dia kan ada alih bahasa tu. Ada juga dia punya yang alih bahasa tu cakap sword. So sedih lah juga kan. Because when kids watch TV, they would imitate from the TV. So they would end up pronouncing it as sword. Okay? It is actually sword. Can I have someone among the audience to pronounce the next word? So we have answer, sword. So the next word, boleh tak?
Ori.
Okay.
Ori.
Thank you, Kak Karen. Betul. Okay, itulah maksud saya. English is not a syllabic language. Kalau kita tengok macam ori kot ni kan. Tapi it's actually array. Okay. Okay, it's silent W, lepas tu RY, array. Okay. And wrist. Silent W juga, RIST sahaja, wrist. Okay. Some other silent letters, silent U. Okay, building, guilt, silent C, science, ascend, silent P. Silent P. Itulah dulu masa sekolah dulu cikgu sahabat kat kita cupboard kot, no? But it's actually silent P. Cupboard. Okay. Alamak, salah heja. Sorry. It's RECIPT. Okay, but the P is silent. Receipt. Sama juga macam B tadi, kita tak payah tutup mulut. P kan? P. So it's receipt. Buka je mulut, receipt. This one is easy. Psychology. Okay, and then we have silent N, autumn, column, and silent L, salmon, ammon, macam itulah. Okay, so like I said, there are many other words with silent letters. So if you're really interested, you can Google it yourself. Banyak sangat. Confused words and homophones. Okay, bila kita tengok ni kita pun macam macam mana nak sebut macam tu kan. Dessert ke desert kita nak fikir spelling lagi kan. So dessert, desert, carrier, career. Ini maybe you should tell your students if you want to go for interview, it's not career, it's career. Macam itulah contoh. Think and think. Tu bunyi tu kena bagi jelas lah. Think, think. Beza G dengan K kan. Okay, and then homophones. Homophones are words with a similar spelling, same pronunciation, different spelling. Okay, different meaning. Okay, so first we have bow, tunduk, and bow. New and new. Okay. And of homophones pun banyak sangat. Okay, you can Google it yourself. Similar pronunciation as in the word new. Again, new and new. The pronunciation is similar, but then it's spelled differently and the meanings are also different. Okay. Next. Okay, some other words. Okay. Since we are in this line, okay. So how do we actually pronounce this? Boleh tak someone? Letak the first word.
Education.
Macam mana?
Education.
Okay, that's how many people would pronounce it. Education. But then the correct pronunciation is edu. Dia macam ada huruf J sikit. Education. Okay, tak payahlah nak education macam tu. I'm stressing it to you so that you can see. It's education, bukan education. So since we are in this line of education, maybe we now we know how to pronounce it correctly. Education. Okay, education. Second word, ada tak?
Waffle.
Saya pun dah lupa. Okay. Waffle. Okay, the correct pronunciation is? Macam mana Kak Farah?
Waffle.
Waffle.
Saya pun lupa je.
Anda nak cakap wafer nah?
Waffle.
Sebab bila pergi beli, kita akan cakap wafer.
Kita minta waffle, dia bagi wafer.
Betul. Kita minta. Betul. Dia akan cakap, oh wafer betul lah, boleh lah, bagilah letak coklat dengan peanut butter macam tu kan. We are often corrected. Okay, so that's why I said the wrong pronunciation is deemed correct. One more. Tolonglah yang ni. Okay, it's not correct. Okay, it's correct. Okay, I do not want to mention the other words sebab dia jadi macam sangat. So it's correct. Okay, bukan correct. Okay, this one is eyebrow from my experience. Kan, orang yang jual tu cakap eyebrow pula. Okay, how about the next word selepas eyebrow tadi?
Klik.
Colleague.
Betul? Ramai yang akan cakap klik. But then the correct pronunciation is colleague. Okay, dia call dulu. Okay, poem. Cik, mentang-mentang APB Kedah tengah buat apa? Voice of the Soul collection of a short poem. Kan? Poem. Okay. How about the next word?
Vegetable.
Okay. Sesetengah akan pronounce vegetable. Okay, but then it's vegetable. Okay, dia tak ada veggie tu tak ada, G tu tak ada, vegetable. Okay, next word. Yang ni student lah. Betul, yang ni kita tahu kot, tapi student lah. Dia pun akan cakap allow. Okay, so I hope you can, do your part and correct them and say it's betul. Wednesday kan? People akan cakap Wednesday. Okay, but then it's Wednesday. Dia tak ada tengah tu. Okay, Wednesday. Tengah tu tak ada. Okay, so it's allow. Thank you very much, Puan Ka Dr. Arnida. Okay, next sama juga, sama macam Wednesday, kita tak sebut comfortable. It's comfortable. Tengah tu tak ada. Comfortable. Okay, how about the next word?
Colonel.
Itulah lupa lagi. Okay, Colonel kan? The correct pronunciation is Colonel. Okay.
Lalu kalau PKFC kena betulkan dia juga.
Kena betul.
Bukan yang kena
Okay, bukan Colonel, it's Colonel. Okay. Lepas tu debut, genre, colleague tu ada 2 kali, sorry. Oh, ada repetition. I'm sorry about that. Itu sajalah. Okay, but of course there are many other words. Ada tak yang anyone would like to share?
Determine.
Oh, determine.
Selalu student suka sebut determine.
Betul, determine kan. Sebab daripada perkataan mind tu lah dia buat sim, determine lah kot kan. Betul-betul, thank you Kak Farah. Betul.
Tai.
Itu yang saya tak nak sebut tadi tu, correct tu. Dia jadi benda lain kan, betul kan.
Mini, Thai. Kalau
Thai?
kata pergi KFC nak order, nak minta bahagian Thai. Tight.
Tight. Betul kan.
Thai.
Dia jadi betul. Ada lagi tak? Tadi Dr. Wawa cakap connect. Okay, connect tu kena sebut betul-betul lah. Lagi? Satu lagi from my experience, maybe it's not the wrong pronunciation, but when I come across the word, saya akan macam hesitate sikit. Macam mana nak sebut ya? Pedagogy. Pedagogy ke pedagogi? Macam tu. So which one is correct? Okay, banyak orang bagi examples. Thank you very much. Join dengan joint. Yang ni lebih kepada grammar lah kot kan. Join dengan joint. Clingy, clothes. Kan kila kan. Lagi tak?
Kalau yang pedal tu, pedagogy.
Pedagogy kan. Itulah kalau saya jumpa saya macam pedagogi ke pedagogi. Macam tu juga.
Rasanya kan yang pedagogi tu dimelayukan kan?
Oh ya.
Ya.
Okay. So pedagogi adalah bahasa Melayu dia.
Kau tak silap kan.
Okay. Alright.
Jadi sebutan yang bahasa Inggeris tadi apa Farah?
Pedagogy.
Pedagogy. Okay.
Pedagogy. Okay. Okay, like I said, boleh habis dalam masa 1 jam sahaja. And I do apologize sebab nervous sangat. So saya tak tahu nak what other things that I could include in this presentation. I'm actually done with the conclusion. So I mentioned earlier, boleh tak kita actually, if we want to sound British, okay, first we have to understand, we have to know about language acquisition lah. Okay, first language is acquired. Okay, kita bahasa Melayu, tiba-tiba kita pandai cakap bahasa Melayu without having to go to classes. Kita pandai because it's acquired bahasa Melayu. Same goes to English. Orang English pun dia pandai English because the language is acquired. Same goes to pronunciation. You have to have that environment. It's sebab tu we have Malaysian English because it's our environment. So one is language acquisition. You have to create that British environment if you want to have British sound. And second is you can actually, without having to be in the environment, tak payahlah nak migrate pergi UK sana kan, just because you want to sound British. You can have frequent practices. That is by imitating the British speaker lah. Okay, as for me, I prefer Emma Watson. Okay, so I listen to her a lot. So I just Google her YouTube videos, her interviews, and try to imitate. Okay, but it's not an easy work lah. You have to be really determined and committed if you really want to sound British. So that is all from me. I hope you have an enjoyable session. I do apologize again because it's just 1 hour. Is there anything that anyone would like to say or anyone would like to ask?
Puan, saya nak tanya boleh?
Boleh.
Kami kan belajar pronunciation ni daripada Google Translate. Lepas tu kan hak dia pronounce tu English apa, English UK ke English Amerika?
Google Translate lah.
Dia ada kan, kalau kita klik dekat dia punya dia suruh cakap tu kan, audio dia kan, dia boleh sebut kan perkataan kan.
Kalau ikut jawapan Puan Arnida kat sini, dia boleh pilih. Mungkin kita boleh set set it to be British English. Sebab saya tak jarang, bukanlah tak pernah, jarang lah guna Google tu sebab saya ni old school sikit. Jadi saya suka guna ni Saya guna dictionary tu. Saya memang akan check the dictionary how to pronounce it. Okay, but then if you check the dictionary, it comes with the weird symbols lah. So mengikut jawapan Puan Arnida atau Dr. Arnida, boleh pilih dekat setting tu.
Betul. I pun buat benda yang sama. Boleh pilih.
Okay.
Nini, just to add, you can also go to dictionary.com. Dekat situ pun senang because it's memang I believe it's British English. So dengar kat situ pun dah settle dah lah.
Okay.
Also we have a question from Shaharudin.
Okay.
Macam mana nak pronounce British? Is it British? British?
Okay. British. Kalau kita tengok yang slide tadi, British would pronounce it as British. Kalau British tu mungkin American, American way of pronouncing British lah. Okay. Kalau British dia memang akan the normal T. Okay. British, better, butter. Yang similar D tu, the T sound that is similar to the D sound that is applied by American speakers. Sebab tu dia jadi water, better, butter, something like that. Ada juga dia telan, contohnya macam winter tu kan, dia pun tak sebut winter, dia pun sebut winter, something like that. So that's why I said we are more exposed to American English because we have English. There are more American songs, there are more American movies. Okay. Terima kasih. Tapi itulah sebab apa? I don't think I'm qualified enough. So saya pun tak tahu nak masukkan apa lagi. So that's why it's just 1 hour. I'm really sorry about that. Thank you very much. Okay, anything else? Oh, thank you.
Do we have any questions for Madam Nini, Madam Asni? Any questions? Maybe Nini, can you share with us your teaching experience using Malaysian English? Efektif tak dalam kelas?
Grammar class. Apa nama? because I advocate English pronunciation, but we do not have, in English classes, we do not have a specific lesson. Okay, today we are going to learn how to pronounce the TH words. Kita tak ada. Okay, in ELC classes, we do not have a specific lesson for pronunciation. But whenever I come across words that I know students often mispronounce, I would point it out to them. Okay, even in the word pronunciation itself, many students would say it as pronunciation. Okay, betul lah, it originates from the word pronounce, but then it's pronunciation. So that's how I teach pronunciation in class, indirectly lah basically. Same goes to grammar. For ELC 151, ELC 231, we do not have a specific class for grammar, so it has to be taught indirectly. However, I do believe grammar, good pronunciation, good grammar is what governs the language, and it gives people, an impression of how your English is. Okay, if you have a good grammar, good pronunciation, the person speaking to you would say something like, "Oh, I'm speaking to someone who is educated." People would say, kalau cakap bahasa Inggeris tu tak semestinya bijak pandai. Betul, tak semestinya. But then you have to have a certain level of education jugalah to be able to speak good English. So I hope we can start using correct English, correct Malaysian English. It's okay to, sound Malaysian, but it has to be correct. Okay, that is all. Malenglish. I'm not sure what that is. Malay English kot. Thank you very much, everyone. And Kila, how about attendance?
We're actually waiting for the attendance link.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we can answer a few more questions.
Mm.
I'm checking on YouTube. Hold on, yeah.
So about Bahasa Rojak, if you want to use Bahasa Rojak in class, make sure it's code mixing. You still adhere to the grammar rules instead of, code switching, because it disregards grammar rules. Okay, itu yang kita ada. Don't play in my class. Okay, it should not be direct translated lah. Okay, Phua Chukang English. That is true. Thank you. Thank you, Shahira. Thank you very much. Ada tak Kila?
Tak ada lagi.
Tenis pun tak ada lagi ya?
Tak ada lagi. Cik.
So, maybe... Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, it's already shared in the chat box. I'll share it in the, okay, it's already shared everywhere on YouTube and also in the Google Classroom. Okay. Nurul Fahana.
Betul. Saya sangat suka Lord of the Rings. Saya suka Harry Potter. The kind of English, when you read the Harry Potter books, the kind of English pun different from other authors. So sukalah. Saya suka Harry Potter. Not just the movies but also the books. Harry Potter kan, kalau American dah jadi Harry Potter, something like that. Thank you Nurul Fahana for sharing. Oh, Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig apa British
It's British. It's British.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Queen's English. Memang sangat British lah.
Okay. So anak-anak saya tengok boy and tu je Pepe nak dipejangan lah tengok Peppa Pig, so saya tak sure sangat. Okay, thank you very much for sharing.
Nini ada tak experience masa first belajar English sebut salah? Like when I was first when I was little, I lived in Langkawi, so selalu nampak signboard island kan. Kila akan sebut Island. Island ni kat mana? It's actually island.
Betul. Mestilah ada kan. Because it's not our first language, we have to first meet the word first to know how actually it's pronounced. Okay. Kalau ada yang rajin tu, dia akan simply read the dictionary and try to find new words. Yang tu dia akan tahu terus lah. But then kita akan jumpa lah from videos ke, audios, books, and then only we learn how to pronounce it. Tapi Puan cakap tu Kila, kalau kita buat macam shame on you, shame macam mana? Kalau kita buat kesalahan pertama, it's okay. But if you repeat the mistake, shame on us, something like that lah. Tak ingat lah saya punya dia punya expression tu macam mana. So when you know, you have to start practicing it lah. Tengok saya ada masalah dengan lah. Terlalu banyak sangat lah. Okay, so it has become a habit. So again, consider fossilization. Okay, a serious issue. Okay, I think that is all from me. And we already have the attendance list. Make sure you fill in the list.
Thank you so much, Madam Nur Asni. It was a very good sharing session. Even I learned a lot. There were a few words that I might have mispronounced just now, like apa tadi? Ori.
Right.
Alright, yes. That was the word. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining in. Well, we really appreciate it. Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum and happy teaching.
Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum.